So, a few days ago, Kamen Rider Kuuga disappeared from Shout Factory's TokuSHOUTsu uh, YouTube channel. Within a few hours, like fans started freaking out and say it was the end of Tokusatsu overseas. Um, DVDs started selling out. People, started doom posting like they do on the internet. Others claimed Toei was abandoning the West. Yeah, that's probably not what's happening out there. Um, it's you know complicated. Hi, how you doing? Hopefully you're doing good. Um, like, why are you gonna listen to this guy? Hey, hi, I'm Steven. I do stuff on the internet. You might have heard of me. You might have not. I don't really care. Um, but if it's your first time here, hi. I like anime, satsu stuff. The media business around it, I guess. Really like camera work. A lot of cool stuff I like. But hey, you're interested here because I like toku stuff, and so do you. Yes, you, not the one behind you, the one in front of you, right there. You look good. Yeah. So let's talk about this. It's still happening. I assume. As of right now. It's strange. So is the sky falling? No. Uh, at least as of not yet. There's a ceiling in front of me, on top of me, so I don't know if the sky's falling. If it is, I mean, that would be a great news story, but I don't think it is. Um, no, with Kuga, or at least now we know with Kamen Rider 1971, the original, that has been taken off of streaming services as of now. So what happened is let's backtrack this a little bit. A couple days ago, there was a tweet that someone put out, and they said, "Hey, Kuga's Kamen Rider Kuuga was not on Shout's YouTube channel, uh, TokuSHOUTsu. Had to get that name right once in the whole video. It wasn't on there. Like it disappeared from the individual episodes, like all grouped into like um, a folder, whatever, on YouTube. And it's like, okay, it's not on there. I get that. And so they're like, oh, what's happening? People on the internet started speculating. Basically, they didn't want to renew it. They lost it. Something happened with that license, right? It's gone, totally gone as of right now. And then it was like after that, things started kind of feeling like it got progressively worse. People panicked, and I mean, it's the internet. People are going to panic. It's strange with that. But it's like, yeah, I guess I don't know. Sometimes I ramble on, but it's strange, right? Within hours, people were acting like Tokusatsu in America have died, like literally dead, kind of like when Power Rangers ended, or Super Sentai ended. Like it is gone. There are people like posting, that's it for us. And you know, it technically was this news of Kuga leaving YouTube, and the sky is falling. It's all ending, and I don't believe it's not personally. Like I worked in media. I did stuff in media and with not on the TV side, but with TV production side, and then journalism side, and all kinds of weird mixes in between that. And to me, that does not sound like that. Cougar leaving, stuff like that happens. You look at shows leaving Netflix and Netflix canceling them. Um, Tons of stuff happens with licensing all around. There's shows that leave one network television and go to another network, and they pop up on there because that's what it is, and rights happen and all that stuff, right? Um, but it's not as simple as everyone thinks, right? And people start panicking because of that. And the internet is this echo chamber of stupid stuff, of it, it, you know, it's this echo chamber of insanity, right? You know, there's no official statement saying that Kuuga is technically gone or Kuuga is it. We just have that email as of right now. Anything that I could find on the internet, I couldn't. And that's mainly why I wanted to create this video because there's so much out there. Is this going to help anyone? Probably not. But if it helps you, you know what? Thank you. There's no official statement. There's nothing, right? I'm not going to stand here and like speculate on like what's going on with any of that stuff. But I can kind of give you a general like detail of that, right? There is instability in streaming. I just told you, like, you have things switching around all kinds. You know, it's not all the time, but it does happen, right? You have TV shows leaving one network and going to another network. You know, one owns one thing and the other ones, there's a fan base behind it and they kind of like save it and they go to another area. You have digital ownership that's going on right now. PlayStation put up their, tweet about on their tweet on X, Twitter, and they went on there and they said, "Hey, we're not making physical disc anymore for our games starting 2028." And there was backlash because of that, because digital ownership is a big thing, right? If you don't physically own that or digitally own that license, they can take it away from you. Sony, they did that with their, I think, Movies Everywhere program and removed, I want to say, up to 200, maybe more or less, shows off of it. And it's like, can you get those shows anymore? No. When a streaming platform takes away a show and they hold that right to it, there's nowhere almost you can see it if they had that exclusivity to that. There's nothing there, and it is scary. Companies remove shows all the time. Companies change things all the time, and you have a legitimate right to worry about that because it is something that can happen and will happen in all of our lifetimes. I mean, there's so many shows that I have DVDs of that I can't see anywhere else, right? And cartoon properties are different than movie properties, and that's different than TV properties. And who owns everything is all muddled in this thing because, maybe mainly people want money. But that's where like licensing comes in, right? Licenses expire. They do, and we don't know that until something is gone. Um, Plenty of shows out there that have done that, not as publicly, that you see. Most of it not public. Most of it's behind the rights, and in most, it's what I would say the studio and the licensing holders want you to see. Right, there is a perceived per like strain of like a layer that you don't see. Um, Renewals also take time to renew that contract, to renew that license for that property, for that TV thing. That takes time. It could take years to get a renewal, to get something to do that, because sometimes a property hits it super big, right? Yeah, a good example is Toonami. Toonami was a cartoon block that was on Cartoon Network for years, and then around 2005 it ended. Came back a couple years later, 2012-ish, and that was on a Cartoon Network 6 sister channel, Adult Swim, and it's still airing to this day. So Toonami has is a block that runs anime, right? And anime has become, as we know, extremely more and more mainstream and popular. It's not as niche as it was, and so niche things cost less than things that are more popular. My Hero Academia, um, Toonami has known to try to get that each season progressively every season, um, to get that on. But as seasons get more and more popular and the shows get more and more popular, uh, it costs more and more money. And so things get pulled away, right? They don't have the rights, they don't have the right things to do that with. There's a lot of things within licenses that they can't show certain parts and everything else. And mostly, for at least for Toonami, from what I know on that side, licensing got expensive, right? Toonami was a thing that was just run with hardly a budget and was free from the creators that created it when it went to Adult Swim. They did it on their own free time. They created the bumps, they created everything, right? They did it on their own free time. They weren't getting paid for running Toonami. They were getting paid for doing their job at Adult Swim, not through Toonami. And so with that, licensing with Toonami, they had a certain amount of money that they could use that was free, I assume, since I don't know all the details on this. It was free, and they went on and they just tried to buy what they wanted to buy, right? Tried to buy what they think their market and their audience would like and adapt to. And if sometimes it was, My Hero Academia, JoJo, or something like that, then sure. But then once those properties became popular enough and mainstream enough, they were edged out, right? Crunchyroll could come in and steal that stuff, and steal in a way of like not theft, but kind of come in and wave the money around. Netflix wave that money around and like, and take that property back and say, you know what, we're going to lock it away in exclusivity. We're going to lock it. We're going to say this is the only place you can see all of these shows. This is the only area. And so when publishers do that, um, Toonami has to at times go directly to the source of it, the publishing, not the publisher, but the people who created the anime, and say, hey, can we do a deal with you instead of doing a deal with them, right? And that sometimes is another way around all these licensing issues that you could do, but that doesn't often work at times, right? Toonami has that because they have some background to it. But if Shout did it, do they have some background in doing that? Sure, they are doing the Zets, Kamen Rider Zets streams right now. They run past Kamen Riders in there, but you have Discotech redoing all the media for the older writers, and so it's like no one knows what's going on with that stuff. You have HBO Max like deleting content, and just playing out it. Oh, it's gone. Sorry. It's a cyclical cycle of things always doing it because property and people liking stuff and fandom driving it and in analytics and all kinds of messy stuff. That's like really like it's crazy, right? It's crazy, and it's like, but then you have the fandoms, and fandoms make everything worse. From everything that I've seen, uh, everything that I know, that fandoms make it like everything worse. I'm not talking about you specifically, but general, that rainbow term fandoms. It's strange. It's social media driven algorithms that make the fandoms, I would say, worse because fandoms at its core, we like that and people and all that stuff, but the algorithm feeds that hatred or feeds that negativity because it draws more. Personally, if I would talk to someone and they would be negative and everything about that stuff, I would either try to cheer them up or say like, hey, this is kind of weird, or there has to be some positive stuff to whatever they were talking about. But at a whole, the more people that join in on that negativity, on that, lack of a better word, hatred of something, the more the algorithm pushes it because it becomes more and more popular, right? And while happy stuff is good, it doesn't give as much, you know, positive. It can last longer with the hatred instead of with the positivity side. But then every licensing issue within Toku fandom, within all that stuff, every licensing issue becomes one: the franchise is dead. That's it. This company hates us. We will never get another writer. And then, about 6 months later, everything's fine. There's another writer. Oh my gosh, it's here again. Oh, it's all fun and games. It's like, I understand why, but it's just a strange thing of like, it just makes everything worse. And it's a weird pendulum, right? A pendulum swinging back and forth from, okay, everything's fine, and oh no, the whole world's on fire. This is it for the fandom, and oh my gosh, we got a new writer. There's nothing in the middle, which is a strange thing for, usually for fandoms, there are things in the middle that like, you can just coast on it for a bit, right? You kind of know, but then it's like for Tokus, it's like one side and then the other side. And it's like, oh, great. But you get to that, and then you see the fandom coalesce around this one thing of Kuuga missing, and understandably, that's Kuuga was not my first Kamen Rider. Um, we can go history maybe later or whatever, but yeah, losing Kuuga from when we had it for so long. I think it came 0-1 after that one was after Kuuga, if I remember right, 0. And having Cougar up there was a cool thing, right? We got to love this thing and grow with this from the first of the Heisei era to like, bring us up, but it kind of like guided us, right? Cougar was a good choice of doing that. And then and then when Cougar was taken down, people started panicking, like always. The internet went in shambles with it. Not all of it, just that one little small section of it. And people, for some reason or another, I just started seeing people on social media start buying all kinds of Sentai DVDs, thinking that it's going to be lost and we're never going to get anything else again. And within, I would say about an hour, 2 hours, maybe the next day, mostly all of those Sentai DVDs were gone, like sold out. You could not get them. They were the ones that Shout created uh, for their Super Sentai series, but they were gone. Like, I mean, literally gone. And like, why? Why would they panic by that? Like, of all things, Cougar was the one that did that. But, beyond me of why you're buying Sentai stuff, because I assume because Sentai ended and it's like, oh no, Toei's are going to pull that license now. You better get it before that stuff. But it's the same reason why I assume it's kind of the same reason. Maybe not, but bear with me here. It's kind of the same reason why people bought toilet paper during the pandemic. Like, why are you hoarding that? That does not make sense. Why are you hoarding that? Why are you hoarding these Sentai DVDs and buying tons of them and having other people buy tons of them? I mean, you know what? I guess I should be. I am guilty of it because I did buy Kamen Rider Kuuga. I bought it when all that stuff was happening because, I mean, I did want to buy Kamen Rider Kuuga. I did. Not saying I didn't. I did want to buy him, and I am cheap, so I do look for deals, and he was like about $27.99, which is a fantastic deal. He goes for like $50, and it's the Blu-ray version, so it's going to go. It'll be cool. Will I watch that thing? Probably, maybe once or twice more. But will it go on my shelf? Yes. But I do understand it though. DVDs and collecting and preservation, it's this whole thing, right? It's this whole thing of like, we will lose it. That goes along with the digital rights things. It goes along with all of that. Like, we're going to lose it. This is the only thing, this physical thing is the only thing we have here to watch this in the future, because one day we're not going to own anything. But the people who own these DVDs, that's it, man. We'll be the ones. It's kind of a little bit like that nerd thing of like, they're going to have to come back to us, man, finally. Which I don't think is going to ever happen. But, physical media isn't irrational, but neither is streaming. Like, there are benefits and advantages for both of them, and there are disadvantages. One disadvantage of physical media is this is going to break down eventually. It might take a long time, but this will break down. Digital ones will be taken off the air. Things are going to happen to that, right? There are disadvantages to both. There are advantages to both. And I understand that urge. I bought Kuuga. I panic bought it, and it was still a good price. So I'm not going to say, like, don't do that, but don't listen to Twitter for any type of advice in general. But don't actually listen to Twitter for, like, knowing to buy stuff, because that's going to do it. Because just because Twitter told you that world is ending, that Toku series is ending, and all of these things are like final quantities, don't go run and buy that stuff unless you actually want it. That's a really good tip right there. Um, doing that, you're going to land in debt, and I don't want to deal with any of that stuff. I don't think I have to, but still, um, I did panic by that, which is interesting. I would have to dive into that a little bit earlier, but there's also another weird thing in the room, another weird elephant in the room. And this is something that I don't see people talk about, not much. I mean, there are people, I assume, on there on social medias or at least on YouTube or someone that talks about it. But piracy, there is that element to that, because when you don't get something and the only way to watch something is to pirate it, the legal stuff gets a little murky and that gray line gets a little bit bigger, right? You know, and I'm not going to encourage piracy. If you don't want to do it, that's totally fine. If you do that, you know what? I'm not going to encourage you, but you know what? Keep living the best life you want. Uh, um, but yeah, I'm going to say, yeah, it happens, right? Whether you like it or not, Toku fans have been subtitling these shows for like 20 years, even longer, probably. They've been going on. They've been doing the best work out there. There's some really good people who make like really nice fonts, like the fonts in actually the Toku like videos are really good. Like the graphics in there are like very good. Like they don't put that anywhere else. That's like really good stuff. Like you need to have a really day job doing that, because that's like really really good. I seen it. It's like I don't know why the ones that anytime that I ever seen them, um, it's like it's just plain. It's like plain font. It's like just throw some Comic Sans in there. So, make it New Times Roman. Make it nice and put some color in it and fancy graphics. I never see those. But that is a fact. People have been pirating. People have been pirating. Movies and everything else. You've seen that stuff. Like they don't. They sneak those cameras in there all the time. So stuff happens, and that stuff happens, and even in a different country when we don't have any of that stuff. I don't expect like fan subbers or any of these people to go into like people's houses and start recording, uh, people watching the TV and subtitling that below, because that's never going to happen. First off, and second off, that's weird if you're breaking into someone's house to do that. But this happened. Even the official releases, Zets, Kamen Rider Zets, still has people fan subbing. Ultraman still has people fan subbing. Um, it's less because there's official, but there are still people out there doing that, because there's all kinds of stuff of why that's happening, right? Uh, it's like not saying that it's like I'm trying to ride this line very gently. People want it because it could be a faster release, right? There's a faster turnaround. There's alternate translations of what it is, right? The official one versus what they think the connotation of a word means. There's a way to just archive it, because if they take it off, we're never going to see it again. We might not get the Blu-ray or the DVD version of this, right? And so there are ways of why people want that, and that's a discussion for a different video if I ever make it. But there's some stuff that's going on within that stuff of why people do this, and it is a thing. And then the other, not other side of it, but another layer of this Kuga disappearing in as of now, or what I've seen on social media, is that Kamen Rider, or the original Kamen Rider 1971, has gone from streaming platforms as well. The content is not there. The other observation that I seen is Kamen Rider Mice, MY-T Myth. Uh, I don't know why you would call it that, but it's beyond me why a title is named that. But Mice Myth, whatever. Um, they sent out. They revealed what it looked like. The Kamen Rider Global reviewed it alongside their Japanese counterpart on social medias, um, and it said, "Hey, the international release is coming later." Looking at it right now, um, they announced the territories. Last year, they announced the territories immediately. This year, it was different. It said, "Coming. The international release is coming later." Um, which is fine. I mean, that doesn't mean it's automatically bad and tied with Cougar or anything else. There is an important distinction because of that, right? It does not mean anything else, right? A word, a tweet, is implied of what it says. We humans imply our own thoughts on what it is. We were already like mourning the loss of Kuga as we're like burying him. And now this comes up and it says, oh my lord, that's it. You know, Toku fans are going to be waiting, you know. We're not going to get mice or myth or whatever it's called. Uh, you know, it it's an international release. Sure, it would have been fun because that's what they said last year. Hey, it's coming to the United States. Hey, it's coming to this territory. It's coming to this country, right? Um, but they said the international release. Technically, I just think it's wording. Yeah, was it a bit concerning when I said that? I'm like, oh, they didn't say that last time. But sure, I mean, it's just a wording thing, right? Would you rather say the countries that it's coming to, um, or would you rather say international? Because that could be more than one country. Well, sure, you know, my country might not get it, but the other country might get it. So that's still international, right? So there's truth in what it's saying. So take things on the face. As someone who has a communications degree, take things on the face of what it says, right? If you read into it and read between the lines while it works, and some things, most of the time, you don't know what the context is. Social media is like bad with context. Texting is like really bad with context. You don't see the other person on the other side. And so a tweet, a post, a text does not have that. That is words on a screen, a digital representation of what someone feels and what they have to write. And I can guarantee you that went through legal at least 3 times, unless they made a mistake on the tweet. And then they have to later on go back and say they're sorry. Um, so, closing all of this stuff, because I probably need to get off, and it's probably been way too long a video for me to figure out how to edit. 31 minutes. Wow, look at that. So, could Kuga's license be gone forever? Sure. Yeah. It could be. Right. It's their decision of what they want to do. Could it be gone forever? Sure. Um, could it be renewed next month? Sure. Yeah. It's also a yes, right? It could be renewed by Shout. They got more money and they wanted to pay. Toei could have said, "Hey, give me that money, man." You know, Toei, they always want that money. Not saying anything to you guys, Mr. Toei, but you know, yeah. But right, there's a business transaction. There's stuff going on, right? They could have said, "Hey, I want those. I want the fees that we're thinking of it because in the future we know Kamen Rider is going to be an international fantastic brand, and we want to do this. We want to do it right." And Shout's like, "We don't have the money for that." And they're like, "Sorry, can you take that off within a year?" And Shout's like, "Oh no, we found the money." And there you go. Now you have more Kuga or Kamen Rider or whatever. Um, uh, None of us actually know what's going on, and that's the good thing, right? That's the thing, and it's good. It's also bad because we speculate. We know, we think as humans what's going to go on. Like a community of people getting together, know what's going to go on, know what how it is, right? We know from every episode of Super Sentai, Power Rangers, you know, Kamen Rider or whatever, we know what's going to happen. He's going to, you know, the character is going to fight some monster, you know, in Super Sentai. He's going to get defeated again. Something happens in the middle, and then they, oh my gosh, there's a mech battle with a kaiju. Um, we know what's going to happen. We know in like almost every fandom's like what's going to happen in whatever show because they're a thematical storyline, a plot line going through it, and we kind of know that it's repeatable, and we've seen it. Um, probably should stop saying a lot, but I'll figure that out maybe in post. But until we hear anything official, all we really do is guessing. And we humans are really good guessers, especially Tokusatsu fans. We're really, really good at guessing. And sometimes we get it right. And a lot of times we get it wrong. We don't know what's going on. These deals are backroom deals. A lot of shady stuff is happening, grease palms and all that stuff. One more tangent, if you allow me to do that. It's kind of like every year people swear that Calliope Mori is singing the next Kamen Rider opening. So if you don't know who Calliope Mori is, or Mori Calliope, she switched her name around a couple times. She's one of the people in Hololive. She's a VTuber and really good singer. Probably up there with in highest grossing stuff. I don't know, business stuff. And she probably makes a lot of money, and she probably films a lot of stuff, and she sings really good, and she has a few openings for animes that they let her do and everything else that she's done. She sung and everything. So aside from that, she sings, and she's a VTuber, right? There's other ones in there that do the exact same thing, but her and a few others, made openings for anime. And so every year they swear that Calliope Mori is singing the next Kamen Rider opening. I can swear to you, if you watch this for Myth, for Mice, Miss, whatever it's called, one of those Kamen Riders, or any Kamen Rider in the future, and you're watching this video, and any Kamen Rider in the future, I can guarantee you there's going to be one comment or a couple comments or some kind of leak or something for the next Kamen Rider that it's going to be sung by Calliope Mori. I can guarantee you there's someone out there doing that. Guarantee you. And that is like the craziest thing, but that's the one thing that's like I can always guarantee you. I was trying to make a really good joke there, but I could not. But one day they will be right, but I don't think that day is today. I don't think today is that day for them. But one day they will be right, because eventually that will happen, right? But one day they'll get it right, but today's not that day. She's probably not going to sing that. Let alone her presence is a little bit higher than Kamen Rider, but that could be another video, but I don't really say. So I understand why people are worried, because it is legitimately worrying if your favorite show, whatever, ends. But it, it's interesting. It's hard. It's Kamen Rider, right? It's Kamen Rider. You know, who knows what's going to happen? And until anyone actually announces anything or what's happening next, we're just all making guesses. And yeah, we're just all making guesses. So hey, I'm Steven, MXA Ghost. You want to follow me? You can. I don't really care. I'm MXA Ghost on like all platforms. You can if you want to follow me. That would be nice. If you don't, that's totally fine. Thank you for watching the video. Appreciate that. Might come back with more. Might come back never again. But who knows? Thank you. And have a great day. You look good, by the way.